What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Today, this video is all about alternate day fasting. A couple weeks back, I put out a video where I told you guys I had been experimenting with it and I'd done it for like a week. I got a lot of benefits, lost a lot of weight, felt pretty good, but I didn't want to make a full video breakdown on it until I had a few weeks under my belt. I want to say as of right now, I'm almost a month in. I've been doing alternate day fasting the entire time, and I have some thoughts on this, man. There's some benefits, there's some potential negatives, and overall, I just want to go in here and break it all down for you guys, show you my exact protocol and everything. So without further ado, man, let's hop right into it. Now, before I break down my exact protocol, I want to give you a little primer for those of you that might have no idea what alternate day fasting is. So I'm sure you've heard of regular fasting, there's intermittent fasting, there's fast that people do for religious reasons, but basically when you are fasting, you are consuming nothing that contains calories. So for most people, that's just water, maybe a diet soda here and there, but for the most part, anything that has calories, you are not consuming. Now, the alternate day method that I've been doing essentially states in a nutshell that you have one day where you eat, and then you have the next day you don't eat, you fast the entire day, and then that following day you end up eating. So for certain people, this can end up being a 36-hour fast, it could be 40 hours, it could be a little more than that, but for my exact protocol, I tend to fall right around the 40-hour mark. So what I do is on a regular eating day, I'll eat up until 7 p.m. at night. After that, I cut off all the food and then I go to bed. So by the time I wake up that next morning at 7 a.m. or so, I'm already fasted for 12 hours. And then that day's gonna go by. All I'm going to do is drink water. Normally I put branched chain amino acids in there. I don't think that's required, but I like the taste of them, and I've read some stuff that says there's benefits, so I like to do that. But regardless, I'm gonna keep the fast going. I'm not gonna eat anything for the rest of the day. So if you think about it, if you cut your food off at 7 p.m. the night before, once you reach 7 p.m. the next night, you're already 24 hours into the fast. And what I like to do here is I go to sleep, I wake up again at 7, and by then it is 36 hours. And from here, I could eat, but I like to go train fasted. So I'll go to the gym, I'll get my weight session in, I'll do 40 minutes of cardio, and about the time I get home, it's around 11 o'clock, 40 hours has passed, and then I begin eating. And I will do the same thing. I will eat all day, and then come around 7 o'clock that night, I'm gonna cut all of the food off, and then the next fast begins. So that's the protocol I've been running, and I've been feeling pretty dang good doing it. And when it comes to the nutrition aspect of my protocol, I wanna make something clear. I don't recommend doing this if your goal is to just drastically cut calories and crash diet. I still think you need to have a clear picture when it comes to your nutrition, the amount of calories you're consuming, and the amount of protein. So for me, on a regular diet, let's say I normally eat 2,000 calories a day and have around 200 grams of protein. If I'm fasting and I'm gonna skip an entire day of eating, then that next day I'm eating all those calories and macros back. So for me, a regular feeding day will look like 4,000 calories and close to 400 grams of protein. It ends up being a ton of food, and it's pretty hard to get down, but I do enjoy it. If you guys actually want to see a video where I break down what a day of eating on alternate day fasting looks like, let me know in the comments below. If there's enough of them, I'll film the video and put it out tomorrow. Heck, man. And when it comes to the actual days of the week that I'm fasting, I'm on a pretty strict schedule, but one that fits really good into my lifestyle, and it's the same and it's set in stone every single week. So the way it's been working is that basically on Sundays I will fast, Mondays I eat, Tuesdays I fast, Wednesday I eat, Thursday I fast, Friday I eat, and then come Saturday I do more of a modified fast. Basically think of it like OMAD or the 1 meal a day diet. So I'll fast all day, and then come Saturday night I will have my weekly cheat meal because life's better with cheat meals, and that's how I roll and I enjoy them. So after that cheat meal, back to fasting on Sunday, rinse and repeat. So I was actually sitting at my computer and I was trying to make a list of what I thought the benefits I wanted to cover for this were, and I think I put together a pretty good one. I'm just gonna speak honestly and openly, and I want you to understand that this isn't necessarily direct evidence that if you do this, you're gonna get these exact same benefits. I love speaking from personal experience. That's why I don't like making videos on things that I haven't actually tried. I'm literally just speaking from my personal experience. So starting off with the first benefit, the one that I noticed almost immediately was that on fasting days, and then in general, even on feeding days after I got a little bit more into it, I feel like I have a lot more energy. I feel a lot more focused. I feel like my brain's working a little better, which I'm not really sure why, because with my macros and my calories, I'm eating the same that I was eating before, except I'm just taking that fasting day. So I'm not sure what mechanism when it comes to fasting causes this. I've looked into some videos and some studies, some different articles of people breaking all this stuff down, and you get so much different information. It's really hard to say exactly what it is, but my energy lately has been through the roof. The second benefit would be that I'm sleeping like a baby. Sleep for me has always been a tricky subject because I'm the type of guy, I don't know if any of you guys in the comments can relate, but like if I get a full night's sleep, I'm a better person for it. If I tend to have a bad night's sleep, I'm tossing and turning, maybe I had too much caffeine, whatever the case may be. If I don't get enough sleep, I am a bear. It feels like my entire day is way harder to manage. And ever since I started alternate day fasting, I feel like my sleep is not only more consistent, but I can get a little less, but I feel like the quality is higher. I know I touched on this earlier, but mentally, like I said, I feel sharper, I feel more aware. It's way easier to do these videos. I don't feel like I'm stumbling over my words as much. I'm speaking better. Everything kind of comes out. It's not as hard to do this whole thing. I don't got to make as many cuts. It's almost like I took an Adderall, to be honest. Feels great. Overall, my mood appears to be better. Now, I'm not sure if mainly it's because when I'm going through a regular day and I'm meticulously tracking and counting all my food, it's a little more stressful. So perhaps taking a whole day where I don't have to mess with that. Then the next day, knowing I get to be a little more loose, I have more calories to play with, it's a little more fun. Maybe that's the reason why, but my mood definitely elevated. One of the biggest benefits for me that's been huge is that I'm noticing way less water retention. For some reason, my body tends to have weird little water fluctuations. I can wake up one day feeling really lean, my face is nice and tight, I got nice definition, and then on another day, it seems like I can wake up and I tend to be holding water, I can be a little puffy, not really a good look, and I find with this, I'm noticing almost zero water retention, bloat, things like that, which has been great. And overall, since I started this, it seems like it's easier for me to hold on to my leanness. I'm not sure if that's the result of the fast clearing my system out, reducing inflammation, things like that, but I talked about it in my last video, but I was having this problem where after my cheat meals, it would take me 2 to 3 days to bounce back. It was almost like my body was fighting me. I would get swollen wrists, my ankles would swell up, I generally feel like crap. It wasn't good. But since I started this, I have had none of that, which has been absolutely great. So to sum it all up, there has been a massive change, I would say, to just my daily quality of life since starting this. That might sound like a bold statement, but I'm sleeping better, I'm happier, holding on to my leanness, I'm less bloated. I feel like that's like all I'd ever want. If I had a genie and I had a wish, I would rub that lamp and I would wish for all of those things in my day-to-day. So that might be why I come off a little hyped about this, but realistically, it's been a game changer. And before we cover these negatives, I want you guys to keep something in mind. So when I'm stating these aren't exactly things that I've personally experienced, but I went through, I read articles, I watched a lot of videos, and for the most part, everything I watched and I read was positive. But anytime something like that happens, you end up with people that almost have incentives for the data to be good. You look at studies where the outcome of that study benefits the people that put the study on, and you gotta have accurate, realistic data before you make any of these decisions. So in my pursuit of this, I watched a lot of Thomas DeLauer. He's citing a lot of studies. I'm reading articles from PubMed, things like that, and there's a lot of positives. But one thing stood out to me more than anything, and that was a video that Layne Norton did on alternate day fasting. I recommend you watch it. But he breaks down a study that wasn't all sunshines and rainbows, and it was pretty good evidence. And I know stuff like that is hard to watch at times, especially when you're having such a positive experience. But I want you guys to keep something in mind, that no diet, no style of anything is the perfect one-size-fits-all solution. And a lot of this stuff comes down to your individual genetics. For me, fasting is pretty easy. I've gotten a ton of benefits, but some people, like my buddy Sush, tried to do this alternate day fasting thing and he was miserable the entire time. So keep that in mind too. Everybody's different. Your outcomes may be different. So when it comes to the negatives, from the study that Layne Norton broke down, there is a potential that you can lose muscle during your fasting period. Now for me, in my head, I think, okay, as long as I'm still training, I'm going to the gym, I'm eating enough protein, I'm doing everything right on the days that I am eating, I should be able to deter that. And so far for me, I haven't gotten a DEXA scan or anything like that, but I don't feel like I've lost any muscle. Now I'm gonna cross my fingers and hope that that doesn't happen, but in this study that he broke down, there were multiple groups of people doing alternate day fasting. They had pretty structured diets, and the group that was doing the alternate day fasting showed more muscle loss from their overall weight loss than the groups that consistently ate every day. So that is a potential thing that could happen. I'm only a few weeks into this, close to a month, so who knows if that's a long-term side effect. If that's something that happened, I would definitely discontinue doing it, but I wanna put that into your head just so you know that there are some potential downsides. The other negative I would say is that if you are not someone like me that meticulously tracks, logs, eats anabolic foods out of my cookbook, link down below in the description, if your diet is not a certain way, there's a potential that you will not eat enough protein, which can lead back to the first negative, which is the potential for muscle loss. Anytime you're not eating enough protein and you're in a calorie deficit, your body is more likely to go for the muscle on you for fuel since you aren't giving it adequate amino acids. So for the average person, I mean, when it's me and I eat so much protein and that's my whole diet basically, it's not that difficult. But for someone else trying to get in double the amount of protein they would normally get, that could be a little tricky. The next negative would be that it's easy to undereat in general, not just protein. We touched on this a little earlier, but if you're accustomed to eating 3,000 calories a day, then you just take that day off. Then on that next day, getting in 6,000 calories for someone that's not a big eater and isn't eating straight junk can be pretty freaking hard. So while being in that deficit might provide the weight loss you're looking for, if you're not super careful with it, you could be in too much of a deficit and risk ruining some of your gains, losing some of your progress. And another negative I wanted to touch on that I feel is very important is that a diet like this, although it hasn't happened to me, I really think could potentially cause people to develop an eating disorder. Now in general, you might call any bodybuilding diet or anybody that follows this structured of a meal plan, you might even consider that in and of itself an eating disorder when you're weighing, you're measuring, you're making specific recipes, things like that. But my definition of an eating disorder is when you're either way overeating or way undereating your calories and you're filling it all with a bunch of junk food. So the last thing I would want to see anybody do from this is take a day where they eat nothing, and then on that next day, their idea in their head is that they can just eat whatever. So they start eating Ben & Jerry's for every meal. They get like 20 grams of protein on the day. They're eating cookies, they're eating absolute junk, and they're not focused on their overall nutrition. So I would say with this diet in general, I don't want anybody out there to look at this as a free-for-all where you can eat nothing for a day and then the next day you eat whatever. That is not what I recommend at all. I think you need to take a balanced approach to this. You need to make sure you're hitting your calories according to your goals. You need to be eating enough protein, etc. And then some other negatives that other people reported was that they were more irritable because they were hungry. They were more tired. They didn't feel like they had enough energy and things like that. Like I said, that's not something I've dealt with personally, but everyone's results may vary. So now that we've covered everything, I want to give you guys some closing thoughts and what I'm thinking about this whole thing in general. So when it comes to like a time frame or how long I'm going to do this, I really don't know. I feel really good right now. This has been pretty easily manageable for me, and it's something I am thoroughly enjoying. So I think right now, if I had to put like a thought process behind it, I would say I'm probably going to continue doing this up until at least the holidays are over. For me, last year got a little tricky. Living in Texas, I'm flying around back and forth to see family, to see friends. With the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, I found myself slipping and sliding a lot on my diet. I came out of those holidays up some weight and I didn't really like myself, but this last trip I took to Ohio, I literally fasted the day before. I landed, ate that night, went out the next day with everybody, ate, did good, fasted the day after that, and literally came back and didn't notice any difference at all in my physique. So I think honestly for me, as a travel and a holiday management tool, this works pretty good. But come like January and everybody starts their New Year's resolutions, things like that, I'll probably hop back on eating every single day. But who knows? I could fall in love with this. I could do this for a few more months and it could be something where maybe I start seeing more of these downsides. Maybe I notice that I'm losing muscle, things like that. So if that happens, we'll definitely switch it up. But for the time being, I'm gonna continue doing this. I'm gonna continue eating the recipes out of my cookbook on the feeding days. I gotta hit 400 grams of protein, which honestly sounds like a ton, but it's not that hard when you have the ultimate guide in your pocket showing you how to make protein waffles, protein pizzas, protein cookies, things like that. It doesn't even feel like a diet. It feels like I get a day where I kind of get to indulge a little bit, knowing that the next day I'm gonna fast and everything's gonna balance out. So by the way, link in description. If you want the ultimate cookbook in your pocket, you get it one time, you get every future recipe I have for free. If you're a foodie like me, I know you're gonna love it. And for anybody else that wants to try this, I would say it's at least worth a try. Give it, maybe try it once, try it for maybe a week, see how you feel. I think it's a nice little change up. Maybe it'll give you a little detox, cleanse your body, drop some inflammation, some water weight. What I would say on who I wouldn't recommend try this would be if you are a bodybuilder or someone that competes or someone that takes this extremely seriously. To this day, I don't know any bodybuilders that do extended fasts like this, or I don't know anybody that's really concerned about muscle growth and body composition that does any sort of long-term fast. So I would say if your goal is to step on a stage or do anything crazy like that, then perhaps I wouldn't try this just due to the potential for the muscle loss. Like I said, with me, that remains to be seen, but I want to give that little caveat there. Well, I think that about wraps up this video. I appreciate you guys as always. Oh, and thank you so much on the support for the new Campfire S'mores Anabar flavor, baby. You guys absolutely crushed it. This is by far our biggest launch that we've ever done, so I can't thank you guys enough for showing up. For those of you that have not snagged a box yet, finalbossperformance.com. Code RGF10 saves you 10%. Hopefully when you go, it's not sold out, but if it is, the other flavors are fire too. So yeah, y'all let me know down below in the comment section what you think about the idea of alternate day fasting, if you think you're gonna try it, if you have any experience with it, anything like that, let me know down below. And if you guys want to see a video where I show you what a full day of eating looks like on this alternate day fasting diet, y'all just let me know in the comments below. Like I said, if there's enough of those comments, I'll film this video tomorrow because right now I'm fasting. So y'all let me know. Appreciate you guys as always. Smash that thumbs up button, comment down below for the algorithm, subscribe if you are not subscribed, and until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I will see each and every one of you at the next video. See you guys. Boom, 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 baby. We out.